Ever feel like some people just have this uh, uncanny ability to get their way, like they're low-key Jedi masters or something, influencing you without you even realizing it? Well, get ready to have your mind blown because today we're taking a deep dive into the world of covert persuasion. And trust me, the stuff I've been reading about it is, well, it's seriously wild. Think about it. We are bombarded with persuasive messages, like constantly, right? Ads, marketing, even just everyday conversations. This book I was reading, it says Americans get hit with like over $3,200 worth of marketing and advertising messages each year. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, you know? No wonder we all feel susceptible to those sneaky tactics sometimes, right? But what's really wild is how subtle these tactics can be. Like even the way someone phrases a question or even just a slight nod of their head can totally sway our thinking. You know, it's like they're planting these little seeds in our minds without us even knowing. It's kind of freaky actually when you really think about it. Take the Dassun study, for instance. Researchers showed people slides of a car accident, and then they asked them questions that were worded in a way to imply there was a stop sign at the intersection. But there wasn't one. And guess what? Most people ended up remembering seeing it. It's like our memories, they're way more malleable than we think. You know, they can be so easily influenced by suggestion. And get this, the book mentions how we tend to remember bad experiences way more vividly than good ones. You know, it's like, it's like at that time I went to that fancy restaurant and the waiter spilled an entire tray of drinks on me. Oh man, talk about a memorable night. But the point is, this quirk of our memory, it actually makes us super vulnerable to covert persuasion because it means our perceptions are like constantly being influenced even if we don't realize it. It's like our brains are always looking for patterns and trying to make sense of the world, and sometimes that means filling in the gaps with information that isn't even there. Think about those anti-smoking campaigns, you know? They don't just say smoking is bad. They hit you with those graphic, scary images. Yeah. And it's effective, right?
Yeah.
Because fear is a powerful motivator. But here's the thing, you can't overuse fear tactics. It's like if you do, people become immune to it, you know. They build up a tolerance or something. You gotta use fear strategically, you know, like you gotta hit them where it counts, but you don't wanna overdo it. Now, ever tried to convince someone to like totally switch their political views? Yeah, it's tough, right? It's because once a belief takes hold, it's really hard to shift. We get emotionally attached to our beliefs, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they become part of our identity. But the book, it suggests some interesting strategies for dealing with this. One of them is experiential influence. It's kind of like a try before you buy approach, but for beliefs, you know. Like, let's say someone's convinced that electric cars are just like totally lame and no fun, but you get a behind the wheel of a Tesla. Well, that might just change their tune, you know, because they've had that firsthand experience. It's about creating experiences that challenge those preconceived notions, you know, and that can be really powerful. Decisions. Anyone ever agonize over choosing between two amazing job offers? I know I have. Well, there's this thing called option attachment that explains why making choices could be so stressful. The longer we deliberate, the more we feel attached to all of our options. And letting go of any of them starts to feel like a loss. A skilled persuader, though, they know to speed things up before you get too bogged down in the what ifs, you know. They keep things moving and they make it easier for you to make a decision. And here's a fun one. You know how as kids we always say like, can I have candy? Because I want some. Turns out that little word "because" can be weirdly persuasive, even if the reason is totally flimsy. It's like our brains just wired to look for justifications, even if they don't make a lot of sense. And the book it suggests pairing a strong emotion with "because" and then adding a fact. It's like a 1-2 punch, appealing to both the heart and the head. For instance, you might say, "I'm so excited about this project because it's going to help so many people," and the data backs that up. Boom. Irresistible argument, right? Now let's talk about some social tactics. Ever heard of mirroring and matching? It's like that thing where you subtly mimic someone's body language or their speech patterns. It might sound kind of creepy, but it actually works. When we feel like someone is like us, we tend to trust them more and be more open to their suggestions. You know, it's like we're subconsciously thinking, hey, this person gets me. They're on my wavelength. Yeah. It's like that time I was at a networking event, and I found myself like mirroring the posture of this really successful entrepreneur. And I swear, by the end of the conversation, we were practically finishing each other's sentences. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but you get the point, right? Here's another one. Want to nudge someone towards taking action. Tell them, some people are investing heavily in this right now.
Create that sense of flex work. Make them feel like they're part of an in-group. And you're subtly pushing them in your desired direction. It's like you're tapping into that fear of missing out. But what I found most surprising in this whole book, it was about this seasoned speaker, super confident guy, thought he knew it all. And then this seemingly unassuming woman at one of his events, she teaches him a really valuable lesson. Turns out sometimes the simplest approach, just directly asking for what you want, is the most effective. We overthink things way too much sometimes. Sometimes all it takes is a clear, straightforward ask. No need to get all fancy or anything. Just ask. Okay, so we've been talking about all these like subtle tactics, but let's get into like the psychology behind it all. The stuff that really gets under the hood of how our minds work. One of the most powerful concepts, and it's straight out of Psychology 101, is anchoring. It's basically about like associating a feeling or an idea with a specific trigger.
Think Pavlov's dogs, salivating at the sound of the bell. Now imagine applying this to persuasion. Let's say you're launching a new product and you want to create this buzz of excitement around it, right? Every time you mention the product, you play like upbeat music, show these vibrant visuals, and people start to like subconsciously connect that feeling of excitement with your product, even without the bells and whistles, so to speak. Speaking of influencing decisions, the principle of scarcity is another big one. We all want what we can't have, right? Tell someone there are only a few items left, and suddenly they're like way more interested, even if they weren't that keen before. It's like this primal urge kicks in. Got to get it before it's gone. That reminds me of this time I was shopping online for a new pair of sneakers, and I had my eye on this one pair, but I wasn't totally sold. Then bam, a little notification pops up saying only 2 left in your size, and suddenly I felt this wave of urgency, like I had to have them. And guess what? I bought them. Totally fell for the scarcity trap, But it's not all about these big flashy tactics. Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference, like your body language, your tone of voice, even the words you choose. These seemingly small details can send like subtle messages that influence how people perceive you and what you're saying. For instance, studies show that people are more likely to trust someone who stands up straight, makes eye contact. It projects confidence, authority, and we're naturally drawn to people who seem like they know what they're doing. Right? It's like this unspoken signal, like, hey, I'm worth listening to. And then there's your tone of voice. Imagine trying to convince someone of something while sounding all like whiny and desperate, Not very persuasive, is it? But when you speak with confidence, enthusiasm, it's contagious. It makes people want to buy into what you're saying. Even your word choice can make a difference. Instead of saying, I think, try, I know.
It sounds way more authoritative, more convincing. It's like you're saying, this is the truth, and I'm confident in it. But when all this talk about covert persuasion, it's important to remember that it's not about tricking people. It's about influencing them in a positive way. It's about helping them make decisions that are in their best interests while also achieving your own goals. It's about finding that win-win situation.
Speaking of achieving goals, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how we can apply these covert persuasion tactics in real life situations. It's one thing to understand the theory, but putting it into practice is where the real magic happens. One of the best ways to hone your persuasion skills is to become a master observer. Pay attention to how people interact, how they react to different situations, what motivates them. The more you understand human behavior, the better you'll be at predicting how people will respond to your persuasive attempts.
It's like you're becoming a detective of human nature. Another key skill is adaptability. Not every tactic is going to work on every person in every situation. You got to be able to read the room and adjust your approach accordingly. It's like that time I was trying to convince my friend to try this new hiking trail I found, and she's super cautious, so I knew appealing to her sense of adventure wouldn't work. Instead, I focused on the safety and accessibility of the trail, and voila, she was in. And here's an interesting tidbit. Did you know that people have different communication styles? Some are more visual, some auditory, some kinesthetic. Figure out someone's communication style, and you can tailor your language and approach to be more more persuasive. It's like speaking their language, literally and figuratively. But let's not forget, covert persuasion isn't about manipulation. It's about positive influence, helping people make good choices while also achieving your own goals.
It's about using these techniques for good, whether in your personal relationships, your career, or just making the world a little bit better. Now that we've covered observation, adaptability, communication styles, I think it's time to level up and explore some more advanced covert persuasion techniques. You guys ready to get into the nitty-gritty? All right, so we're getting into some advanced covert persuasion techniques now. Buckle up, because this is where things get really interesting. One technique I find fascinating is called future pacing. It's like taking someone on a mental journey into the future where they're already experiencing the benefits of whatever you're trying to persuade them to do. Imagine you're trying to convince someone to invest in your new business venture. You could paint this vivid picture of them, 5 years down the road, financially secure, enjoying the fruits of their smart investment. You're giving them a glimpse of their dream life, making it feel attainable. Then there's reframing. It's about shifting someone's perspective, changing the way they see something by altering the context. It's like turning a negative into a positive. Let's say you're selling a product that's pricier than the competition. Instead of dwelling on the cost, you reframe it as an investment. You highlight the long-term value, the benefits that outweigh the initial price tag. Suddenly that cost seems less significant. Speaking of making things relatable, metaphors and analogies are super powerful tools. Sometimes the best way to explain a complex idea is to compare it to something familiar. You're building a bridge between the known and the unknown. Like if you're trying to explain a new technology, you could compare it to something people already understand, like a smartphone. It's like a smartphone for your home, you might say. Instantly, the concept becomes more accessible, the value more apparent. I don't know, but with all this talk about these advanced techniques, it's crucial to remember the ethical side of covert persuasion. I know some of you might be thinking, isn't this all a bit manipulative? And yeah, it can be if used for the wrong reasons. Like if you're using these techniques to trick people, to get them to do something that's not in their best interest, well, that's definitely crossing a line. But if you're using them to help people, to guide them toward positive choices, to inspire them, then I believe covert persuasion can be a force for good. Think about it. Persuasion is all around us. It's how we communicate, how we connect, how we influence the world around us, even in our personal relationships. Understanding these subtle dynamics can make a huge difference. It reminds me of this time I was trying to convince my partner to go on a camping trip with me. And they weren't exactly thrilled about the idea, but I knew they love spending time outdoors and disconnecting from technology. So instead of focusing on the roughing it aspect, I highlighted the peace and quiet, the chance to reconnect with nature, and guess what? They agreed. We had an amazing time, and they even thanked me for persuading them to go. But here's the thing: the best persuaders are the ones who are genuinely interested in other people. They listen, they empathize, they build rapport, because when you genuinely care, it shows. Your persuasive attempts feel more authentic, more impactful. So as we wrap up this deep dive into covert persuasion, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. First, remember that this is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Experiment, try out different techniques, see what works for you. Second, pay attention to your own persuasion radar. Be mindful of how others are trying to influence you. Become a student of human behavior, a decoder of subtle cues. And finally, always remember that the goal of covert persuasion is not to control people, but to empower them. It's about helping them make choices that align with their values and aspirations while also achieving your own goals. It's about creating win-win situations where everyone benefits. So go out there, use your newfound knowledge wisely, and always remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay persuasive.